prices on the rise, ours are dropping again. Get unlimited talk and text with a flexible data plan starting at $20 a month.
They are always concerned about my needs.
Our customer service team is 100% based in the U.S., and we've received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service again.
I got a great phone, and I got to keep my number.
And AARP members get exclusive discounts.
You'd be surprised how much you can actually save.
Switch today and save up to half on your wireless and add extra lines anytime for just $15 each. Call 8.
Is that on?
Hi everyone, I'm CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony with the first tornado warning of the afternoon. Remember, we were talking about the potential for tornadoes today, and a tornado watch is in effect until 9 p.m. Well, the first tornado warning that has been issued is in Sabine County, San Augustine County, and Shelby County. It's this cell right here with a circulation to the northwest of Pineland, just to the southwest of Bronson. So if you're watching us from Bronson, please head to your shelter now. Don't forget your phone so you can follow along on our CBS 19 app or at cbs19.tv. But that's the circulation. It's right on FM 1751 to the southwest of Bronson. That's Highway 96. So Highway 96, if you live along that and you look to the west, you would see the possibility of a lowering or some very ominous clouds off here to the west. Again, this is radar indicated, so there are no eyeballs on this storm right now telling us that there is definitely a tornado with it. But the impact on this storm rising to a 2.2 with a wind impact closer to 9, and a lot of times when we get those wind impacts closer to 9, we will start to see at least the potential for some wind damage. There's that bright red and here's that bright green. It looks like the rotation fairly wide right now, but it has tightened up, and you can see it also kind of goes back in here a little bit, and so it's just that kind of spin that we're watching very carefully. So it didn't indicate a whole lot of strong winds. Looks like we also have another tornado warning for that cell. That's over on the Louisiana side. This is moving northeast, and these storms are really moving along. The Storm Prediction Center, or I should say the Storm Predictor, saying about 30 miles an hour up to the northeast, so that puts it into Bronson at 245, Rosevine about 256, and then Sexton around 317. And so that would take it here is going to be Sabine County, so it's going to take it across northwestern Sabine County, northeastern San Augustine County, and then into southeastern Shelby County. So not all of Shelby County is in the tornado warning, nor is all of San Augustine County. For instance, if you live in Broadus or Norwood or even the city of San Augustine, you are not under the tornado warning. You're just outside of that shaped area where we have the tornado warned storm currently. But again, it's almost right on the San Augustine-Sabine County line, and as meteorologist Chandler Jordan zooms in here, there's Bronson. So west of Bronson is the main circulation near County Road 4330. So we're trying to take you in as close as possible to give you an idea. If you live on Horn Drive, it is imperative that you are headed for your shelter right now, especially along Bronson Road 2 and County Road 4305. Right in that area, and it could go deviate in any direction. Essentially, though, it is moving to the northeast, and these storms today are moving at a roughly 40 to 50 miles an hour, so they are moving right along. The steering currents just off the surface that are moving these storms are really helping to create that little twist or added twist in the atmosphere. So tornado warning again, Sabine, San Augustine, Shelby County. That goes until 2:30, so that's another 50 minutes on this storm. I should say, with the severe thunderstorm warning going until 3 o'clock, but the tornado warning will replace that as we get closer to 3 o'clock, and then we'll be into this tornado warning. Sabine, San Augustine, Shelby counties on the Texas side. There's another one over in Sabine Parish on the Louisiana side. But that looks like that's gotten a little bit stronger. That bright green, that red, remember red is going away from the radar and the green is coming back toward the radar. So there's an obvious circulation right here west of Highway 96. Ford's Corner, just up to the north, if you live there, you might want to watch this storm. Rosevine, I think the same holds true. McCune, you're okay. Broadus, you're okay. Denning and San Augustine, I think you're fine for the moment, as this storm is not headed in that direction. There's another, that's the other circulation, just to the, just across, I think, the south end of the Toledo Bend, or just right on the Toledo Bend. That's the south of Toledo Bend. So right across maybe the north end of Toledo Bend is that other circulation. But this, if it holds together, could make it all the way up to Huxley and Drecka in southeastern Shelby County. That would be at 321. So that's why this tornado warning goes until 3:30, because if that cell moves along this whole shaded area. It would cover Ford's Corner, Sexton, and Drecka through those times all the way up till about 3:30. Again, that's Shelby County, Aiken and Shelby County. If you're hearing that you're under a tornado warning, it's really going to be the southeastern corner of Shelby County. And for San Augustine County, it is right on the border with Sabine County. So everywhere else in the county is in the clear at this time. And that's what we have going on right now. Now, the whole area, again, is under a tornado watch. And if we want to look at a different radar view here, we can kind of give you the broad picture of what's happening. Look outside. We got cloudy skies. For the time being, things have quieted down in Tyler. We're wondering, just based on some of the data that we're seeing, if perhaps the worst may have passed this afternoon. I don't want to. We could be looking at that. We'll keep an eye back out here to the west. Smith County, Cherokee County, Angelina County, and Van Zandt County. Not Van Zandt County, but just to the west of Henderson County. Yeah, a portion of Henderson County is in that tornado watch until 9 o'clock. That's Henderson County. That's going back up into, I believe, Hopkins County. So we got Hopkins County out here that is in that watch until 9 o'clock. All right, so but you can see, we'll look at the radar, and when we go back to the radar, you're going to see most of the activity is moving to the north into the northeast. Live picture again here from Tyler, but as we then change gears here, so here's Nacogdoches, all quiet there. Back here we've got just a little bit of wind around Henderson. We have the tornado warned storm down toward Hemp Hill, but again it looks to be to the west of Hemp Hill, riding northward. Notice the rain has stopped. There's not much going on back here. All of the heavy thunderstorms are now Longview to Jefferson through parts of Panola County and northern Rusk County. And meteorologist Chandler Jordan and I were just looking at some of the data, and the best dynamics for storm development now is starting to move to the northeast. Still over the next 3 hours, we think there is potential right in here for something to possibly spin up. We try to re-energize the atmosphere late tonight, but it just doesn't meet what we've seen so far today. So if we have additional showers or thunderstorms form later, they don't appear that they'll be as strong, and those areas are not under a watch, so that makes sense. So this might be the main show this afternoon, and this would be great news if this is the case. We just have to keep these below severe limits. But look at all the lightning. There is tremendous amounts of lightning, so we're getting heavy rainfall with these. Lightning can be an indicator of storm strength, and when the lightning increases, that means the storms are also increasing. It can also tell us about rainfall rates. So we're likely getting 1 or 2 inch an hour rainfall rates here in western parts of Marion County, western Harrison County, eastern parts of Upshur County, and northeastern Gregg County, and maybe even that northwestern corner of Panola County. So those storms are just starting to move out of Rusk County, certainly moved out of Smith County, and moved out of Wood County. And then back here to the west, not much going on at all. Let's put a track on these storms as they move northeastward. And again, they're racing this afternoon. The motion has been, and this is interesting to see. You can see how, as it moved across Cherokee County, this cell here was spinning quite a bit as it moves up into Harrison County. And it's just kind of like a top and all the way up into southern parts of Morris County. So, but it's moving rapidly. The speed over land is about 40 to 50 miles an hour, and you can see our Titan indicator showing a stronger cell there just in northern parts of Shelby County, right in here. Those are the tornado warned storms, eastern parts of San Augustine County, northwestern Sabine County, city of Hemp Hill not included in that, and that southeastern corner of Shelby County. But what I wanted to do was track the storms up to the northeast and those thunderstorms, just kind of give everybody an idea of when they could be moving maybe into Harrison and Marion County and out of the Longview area. Could be coming to an end in Longview in about, let's say, 30 minutes or so. But again, we have that tornado warning for the areas down to the south till 3:30. That's why we're on right now. So we have to keep everybody safe throughout the area. But those are the thunderstorms of main concern right now in East Texas. And this is going to be for Jefferson here basically right now, Waskom within the next 15 minutes, up into Atlanta, Texas about 3:18, and then moving into Louisiana right around 3:30. There is some data that suggests that the storms will really pick up strength once they get into south central Arkansas and north central Louisiana. Not to say that they're not strong here, because they are, but they may even become stronger later on this evening in those areas. So there's Longstreet. There is your Titan indicator on that cell. You can see all these lightning strikes northeastern Rusk County. Let's zoom in on Longview. and take a look at just how much longer in Longview we might be dealing with some heavy rain. It looks like the heaviest thunderstorms have moved out of Longview. There's Tatum. We have thunderstorms stretching up toward Harleton, and so this is going to be your heaviest thunderstorm area right now over toward Tatum and Darko. So heavy rain, dangerous lightning. If it's any indication of what came through earlier, you get winds in the order of 35, 40 miles an hour, and then it just blows through. It lasts about 15 minutes, and then it's gone as it races eastward. So I'm just checking with the National Weather Service to see if they've got anything else on that tornado warning down to the south. So it doesn't look like anything has changed. Certainly no spotters down there putting any eyeballs on it, being able to confirm. It's simply radar indicated right now. And Chandler, it looks like it's weakened just a little bit, or at least on this scan it has. Could be going through a period of regeneration.
Yeah, it could be trying to cycle at some point through its lifespan. And a lot of these storms today, they typically flare up, and that's where we pick up on the rotation. Sometimes that triggers a warning, and then as they move into an environment that might have already been worked over with a little bit of moisture, some thunderstorms, they pulse back down. But still, given the environment that we have to work with today, even though we see some cycling or some pulsing down of these radar signatures, that doesn't mean we can let our guard up, and we still have to respect this warning that's in effect, even though we have some good indications, Brett, that we've at least seen a little bit of weakening over the last couple of radar scans within this particular storm. Yeah,
that is certainly really good news. I was just looking to see I guess that was really from the National Weather Service. They were talking about another discussion from the Storm Prediction Center, but I believe it's going to be areas to the north and east of East Texas, like for instance up toward I guess that's part of ours. Let's see. There may be another watch coming here within the next few minutes. This is going to be for north central Texas up into eastern Oklahoma. I'm going to guess that the storms out in that environment that still have some energy to work with may start to redevelop. There was a little bit of capping out toward the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, meaning that the thunderstorms were rising as they were building. They were bumping into a slightly warmer layer aloft, and then they were kind of settling back down. So they sent up some special weather balloons at around noon today, and that little bit of a cap was eroding. And so maybe, so we've got to watch that area out there to the northwest of us, because like I said, computer model data suggested this area here was really going to flare up. We're just not seeing it yet, unless it ends up being up into where these cells are going right now, unless it's this area here into eastern Oklahoma. That would be great news for us. So that's just something that we'll be watching here in our CBS 19 Weather Center. But these cells here are working into that environment right now where there's strong winds, lots of shear, heavily sheared area. If this was springtime, I'd almost think for sure if we had temperatures in the 80s. We had dew points today close to 70. That is more than enough to get a tornado warning or to get some very strong thunderstorms going. But we certainly have those strong thunderstorms. But what might be happening here, and Chandler and I have talked about this, none of these cells have been able to kind of sit out there on their own. They get ingested into the other showers and thunderstorms. It becomes a larger cluster. Kind of saw this last week. When they get kind of clustered up, they're all sharing the environment. They're all sharing the energy around them. And so one storm can't become stronger than the other. Because of that, we end up just getting heavy rainmakers with tons of lightning that's moving on out. Looks like it's about ready to move out of Gregg County. Certainly looks like it's exited Upshur County at this time, and now it's basically Cass County into Marion and Harrison County down into Panola County. So we got about another half hour. Then we'll wait and see. We'll probably have to reset the table here and see exactly what's happening. We still have the tornado warning down, I believe, in parts of Sabine and San Augustine County. So let's go visit that. This is the reason we came on, and we're staying on here until this tornado warning is allowed to expire. But the cell itself, and we'll go back and look at it here in just a second, it's this cell. It showed indications of having a tightening rotation, so the National Weather Service went ahead and popped a tornado warning on it, and right there it is. It's moved to the northwest of Rosevine. So even though Rosevine, you're sitting in what we call the polygon or the tornado warned area, I think Rosevine, you're fine. You can come out of your shelter. Ford's Corner, though, hopefully you're in your shelter right now. You are hunkered down, waiting for this rotation to move overhead. That's going to be just south of Highway 21 So if you were, say, in the Rosevine area near 103, you're looking back to the northwest, you likely have a really good view of this storm here, and you'd be okay to come out right now because this is past. 21, though, you probably want to be in your shelter. Milam, you're far enough away that you should be okay. Venable, you're outside of the polygon, so you're okay there. So this is going to keep moving to the northeast. And it's right again, San Augustine County line and Sabine County line. So 95%, maybe 98% of the counties under the warning right now are free and clear of anything. It is just really right in here that we have the concern. And then a portion of Shelby County. So this may just move up in extreme eastern Shelby County. The reason that you draw this way, because there is that margin of error that this storm could drift a little bit farther to the north or drift off to the east. But as Chandler Jordan tracks this for us, you'll notice East Hamilton and Sexton would still be in play for that cell to move through those areas, certainly Drecka and Huxley by about 3:23. And that tornado warning goes until 3:30 for Sabine, San Augustine, and Shelby County. We have a very strong indication. This is over on the Louisiana side, on the other side of the Toledo Bend, but look at that, and now the Titan indicator in that storm shows a TVS signature, a tornadic vortex signature, on the stronger side. It can only go red after this, so this is in almost up to about a 7, 7.5. So that's a strong indication that there may be a tornado on the ground over in Louisiana. While this cell down here, while it has some organization to it, just not as well organized as that storm over to the east. So that's County Road 150, Eddings Lane, and then I believe that was, can you pan that down just a little bit after Four Corner? I can't remember what city that was. Ford's Corner, yeah. So Ford's Corner right there, where that cell is kind of crossing over 103. But again, not anything that we've got any spotters that have any eyes on it. It's just radar indicated merely at this time. All right, so we continue with the tornado watch until 9 o'clock over much of East Texas. And we currently have no warnings ongoing here in parts of East, at least around most of East Texas. But that tornado with radar indicated and possibility of hail just slightly smaller than quarters, and that is for Sabine, San Augustine, Shelby County. That is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Was near Rosevine. It's moved now north of Rosevine, and it's southeast of Center, and it's moving to the north, the Weather Service says, at about 35 miles an hour. So Center is not in the polygon, so if you're in Center watching, you're okay. You don't have to go to your shelter. I would just be keeping an eye on these storms. If it looks like something may start to move back that way, we'll let you know. But this is going to move from Ford's Corner to Sexton up toward Drecka. Lula is going to be on the other side of the state line, out of the area. So you got till about 3:07, 3:17 for it to clear all of East Texas, and that warning then. We'll see if this can last. It does look like it's got a fairly good indication on it, but every time we put our Titan indicator on it, it just shows a stronger mid-level rotation in the storm. Plus, you're talking about the radar beam that just went through there coming out of Shreveport, shooting at a fairly high altitude, probably about 7,000, 8,000 feet into that storm. So it may have some rotation at that level, but not reaching the ground. So that's a possibility. This one would be a little more concerning, but again, that's over in Louisiana moving toward Pleasant Hill. We'll see if we get something noted out of that. The whole environment conducive for a tornado warning today. I mean, we cannot rule that out. I mean, you look at it, you've got strong upper level winds, you've got strong mid-level winds, you have a lot of humidity, a lot of juice in the atmosphere today, and we had some sunshine break through, and it added to the energy, so it was kind of all coming together. A couple of things missing: the absence of perhaps a strong cold front or strong dry line. That is still way out to the west. So you're really talking about just wind shear and energy kind of driving these rotations or driving these cells. If we had perhaps a stronger mid-level impulse or a little spin in the atmosphere that was coming through also this afternoon, then maybe we'd have, well, I don't think maybe, I think certainly we would have a better opportunity to see more widespread warnings coming out of this. But we've kind of been helped out by these showers and thunderstorms clustering up, and they're moving out to the northeast. So Longview is out in the clear temporarily. Again, we're watching this area. And if we can go back maybe to our camera and just kind of see here in Tyler if our sky is clearing, it looks like we're staying cloudy. Chandler, as long as we can keep these clouds around, I think we can maybe keep this from getting any more out of control the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, you're right. You know, one of the things that cloud cover certainly can help us out with is they almost act like a blanket in the sense that available energy from the sun as it tries to reach the surface. Obviously, when you have very thick cloud cover, such as what we have off in the distance, you can see from our Tyler camera, there's no type of rays of radiation from the sun that are able to make it to the surface, which in turn would allow for more energy to build up. So that's a good thing, and let's hope that we can continue to be helped out by the clouds. Clouds are our friend today. And as a reminder, we still have a tornado watch in effect until 9 p.m. for a good portion of East Texas. And so even though we've just had the one warning in Tyler and Jasper County, as well as the one warning throughout parts of deep East Texas, still we've got plenty of juice and, you know, a pretty prime environment to work with. So there's no need to let your guard down. We still have, I think, a couple more hours of where we're definitely going to need to be extra vigilant and just keeping an eye out on things in the atmosphere. We had an extension of that tornado warning just across the border into separate parishes of Louisiana, and we're still keeping an eye out on our own tornado warning until 3:30. So we'll go back through the camera, head back to our velocity product, and you'll see that really though, once we get into these next couple of hours, that's where we're going to be keeping an eye out for the possibility of some stronger thunderstorms in our eastern counties. And Brett, I did want to note, I'll turn back over to reflectivity and get these warnings out of the way. The Storm Prediction Center was talking about an area that could be favorable for at least a little more tornadic development over the next hour or so, and that's going to be this sliver of our eastern counties where we're starting to see that cluster of thunderstorms begin to move into the region. They noted that there's some favorable wind shear to work with, favorable helicity, favorable energy, and certainly we could see one or two tornado warnings or even just some severe thunderstorm warnings with strong wind gusts in this corridor where these clusters of thunderstorms are headed over the next hour.
Yeah, and that lines up with where we were looking at the high-resolution short-term data a little bit ago, and it kind of pointed toward that area. So Storm Prediction Center kind of agrees with what Chandler and I are seeing here. It's this area right in here that we're most concerned about. But when you get those cells moving through those areas, once it clears that county, then it moves on out. That's certainly good news. Those are they added Sabine, or will soon add Sabine County to the tornado watch until 9 o'clock. They were not in the earlier tornado watch that was issued, but will be added, as will a few of the parishes over on the Louisiana side of the border. But this is the only active warning that we have ongoing right now, and that is the tornado warning that is still in effect for a small portion of San Augustine County, northwestern Sabine County, and extreme southeastern Shelby County, and that goes until 3:30. So current time is 2:58, and we've got about a half hour with that cell to move on out of there. And you would say, well, why does it go till 3:30? Well, look at the polygon shaded area, and it's going to take till 3:30 to get that cell all the way to the north end of that. Now, it could be extended into Shelby County for a little bit longer until it can cross over into the Louisiana side of the state line. But right now, almost, I'd say just this really small portion of San Augustine County is the only thing, or the only part of the county that has a concern. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning to the south of that, over more of San Augustine County and more of Sabine County west of Hemphill. But even that cell right now is just severe thunderstorms. Doesn't mean it can't start to spin, or we'd have another tornado warning issued out of that. Right now, they have not put any hash marks inside that box. If they do, that typically tells us that they are looking at the possibility of issuing a tornado warning, or there is some circulation within that cell that is suspicious and maybe capable of producing a tornado. But that's really what we're looking at for the time being, and that is on the Sabine County side of the line. It does stretch over toward Ford's Corner, I should say, and then you've got this other portion right here maybe that's the initial cell that we lost, and maybe I've just lost this in the whole collection of cells, because it looks like this should be farther. It was a little bit ago around Ford's Corner, and now it should be up closer to East Hamilton by this time. So, yeah, things are becoming real muddied down there in terms of what it all looks like, but we've seen a lot of that. I mean, if there's something in there, boy, it might be more straight line wind gusts, maybe downburst winds or something of that nature. I don't see any real defining characteristics in that cell currently for any type of tornado warning.
Yeah, it's very sloppy down there right now.
That's a great description of it. Let's go up where the area where they were talking about the possibility. We maybe zoom in on this area up here where they are a little concerned if we can get maybe like a discrete cell like that, so one out ahead of it, but everything else is sort of clustered up. There is just not much going on toward DeBerry, which had a tornado just a few weeks ago. Back over here toward northwest of Jefferson, there's a slight rotation there. It looks fairly broad and weak. So, you know, keep an eye on it. I mean, you can't rule out this area up in here in Cass and Bowie will get some really strong wind shear that'll move and spread over that area in the next couple of hours. And so this might be the area that gets a tornado warning before it's all said and done. We'll watch that cell as it jumps across the state line and gets into that environment. We'll see if it just suddenly doesn't pop and become stronger. But everything else, Chandler, looks like it's fairly weak at this time.
Yeah, very clustered thunderstorm development across much of the region, and as Brett had mentioned, we'll keep an eye out on this particular area of East Texas. That includes our eastern counties, because as these storms tap into this better environment, thankfully as they will begin to tap into this better environment, they'll start to move into Arkansas and Louisiana. So if they were to get strong, we would at least just get the initial strong thunderstorms here in East Texas, and we would eventually see these make their way away from us, which is, of course, always some fantastic news. We'll go back down to the tornado warning that we still have in effect until 3:30. That includes Sabine, San Augustine, and Shelby counties. As Brett had mentioned, very clustered, not really the most impressive velocity signatures either. Here it is on CBS 19 radar just to the north of Rosevine. This is due west of State Highway 87, and our Titan indicator starting to finally show at least some weaker signs of rotation, just a tornado impact to 2.5, Brett.
Yeah, it's not really strong at all. The fact that it now is starting to show a little bit better of an organized circulation in there, but look how fast it's moving to the northeast at 38 miles an hour, so that ought to clear out of the Rosevine area soon. It's staying west of Milam, so that's not a concern, but East Hamilton still an area, and it seems to me that this has kind of gone through some regeneration, because we were looking at Rosevine, and then we were looking up here closer to East Hamilton, and now we're looking back down toward Rosevine again. So as these cells tend to rotate and spin, sometimes you can have one part of the storm sort of ingest its energy back to another part of the storm, and then that storm gets a little bit better organized and stronger. I've seen that happen several times, and so that's why sometimes you can't give up on a cell when it looks like the tornado or the couplet weakens enough where it would not be tornado warned, because another one can form, especially to the southwest of that is typically where that happens, and that may be the case here today. Here's East Hamilton. There's Huxley. We're still continuing to track that Huxley into Shelby County, still under the tornado warning till 3:30. In fact, that goes till 3:34. East Hamilton's at 3:19, so we're about 16 minutes away. Sexton at about 9 minutes. So if you lived in Sexton, East Hamilton, or Huxley, you probably should go to your safe place and stay there until this cell passes out of that area. Again, we're on air this afternoon because we've got a tornado warning for Sabine, San Augustine, and Shelby County, and that goes until 3:30 this afternoon. And we are, again, if you are listening to one of our radio partners, our Alpha Media radio partners, The Ranch 105.7 or 104 Kicks FM, or perhaps Jack FM.
And that was just canceled by the National Weather Service.
So the tornado warning has now been canceled. All right.
No word from the National Weather Service out of Shreveport as far as an extension of the warning or anything like that. They are more concerned about the signature that looks very bright now moving through DeSoto, Natchitoches, Red River, and Sabine parishes just over the border.
Okay. One other thing, go back up to the northeast. They did the Weather Prediction Center, which is an arm of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So like Storm Prediction Center handles severe weather. Weather Prediction Center handles some heavy rainfall. So if we go back to reflectivity, I'll show you what they're now concerned about, and we'll probably get off here in just a second and go back to regular programming. There's some heavy rain here, so they're concerned about flash flooding as these rainfall rates of perhaps 1 to 2 inches an hour move over this area here up toward Texarkana, northwestern parts of Louisiana, and then over southeastern parts of Cass County and north central Marion County. All right, so again, the tornado warning for San Augustine and Sabine and Shelby County has been canceled early. It was due until 3:30 this afternoon. The stronger cell is over on the Louisiana side. So what we are going to do is send it back to regular programming. We do appreciate you tuning in this afternoon, allowing us to walk you through some of these severe thunderstorms. We're going to keep an eye on these storms for the rest of the afternoon. If we get additional watches or warnings, we will be sure to come back on in place of programming. Meantime, keep an eye on the top of your screen. We're calling it very important weather information there, and you can always follow us at CBS19.tv and on our Facebook page. Have a great afternoon. If we come back on, we will. If not, we will see you at 5 p.m.
Top 6 answers on the board. We ask 100.